Something big just happened in the P. Diddy case, so big that one of his top defense lawyers just walked away without warning, just months before trial. And the craziest part? He refuses to say why. When lawyers leave a case this late, it's almost never a good sign. Is this a legal strategy shift? A sign of internal chaos? Or did Ricco see something that made him decide he couldn't be part of this anymore? One thing is for sure, Diddy's legal troubles are only getting worse, and this latest move could change everything. Let's break down exactly what's happening, what this could mean for Diddy's future, and the theories behind why his lawyer really walked away. P. Diddy's legal team just took a major hit. One of his top defense attorneys, Anthony Ricco, has suddenly quit the case, and his explanation? Almost nothing. In his official court filing, Ricco wrote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs." That's it. No further details, no dramatic statement, just a cold, legal withdrawal with no clear reason. And in the world of high-profile cases, when a lawyer quits this late in the game, it usually means something big is happening behind the scenes. But here's where it gets even more suspicious. Ricco specifically cited attorney-client privilege as the reason he couldn't give a full explanation. In other words, whatever made him leave, it's something he legally can't talk about. So what could force a high-powered lawyer off the case just 3 months before trial? A conflict within the defense team? New damning evidence? Or something even bigger that hasn't come out yet? And Ricco isn't the only one distancing himself from Diddy lately. Because as this case heats up, the legal firestorm surrounding the rap mogul is only getting worse. P. Diddy isn't just facing a single lawsuit. He's drowning in a wave of legal battles, federal investigations, and public scrutiny. His reputation, career, and even his freedom are all hanging by a thread. And now, with one of his key lawyers suddenly abandoning ship, people are starting to wonder, is this the beginning of the end for Diddy? Let's break it down. Over the past year, Diddy has been hit with multiple civil lawsuits alleging serious crimes, including sex trafficking, abuse, and racketeering. Some of these cases have been settled behind closed doors, but others are still very much active. And while lawsuits can sometimes be shrugged off in Hollywood as just another scandal, this is different. The federal government is now involved. Authorities have been quietly building a case against Diddy for months. Reports suggest that federal agents have been investigating him under suspicion of running a criminal enterprise, something far bigger than just 1 or 2 isolated accusations. If the feds find enough evidence, this could go from civil lawsuits to serious federal charges, meaning prison time could be a real possibility. And here's where it gets interesting. When powerful attorneys suddenly walk away from high-profile cases like this, it often signals one of 3 things. 1. Internal chaos. Diddy's defense team may not be on the same page. Ricco might have clashed with other lawyers about the strategy, or he saw something in the case that he simply couldn't defend. 2. New, damning evidence. If prosecutors uncovered something game-changing, Ricco may have realized that the case was no longer winnable. In situations like this, lawyers sometimes step away to protect their own reputations, especially if they think their client is about to go down. 3. A possible plea deal. Some are even speculating that Diddy may be considering cutting a deal with prosecutors. If Ricco wasn't on board with that strategy, he may have chosen to leave rather than be part of a legal shift he didn't agree with. Of course, at this stage, these are just theories. But one thing is undeniable. Diddy's legal situation keeps getting worse. And it's not just lawyers who are distancing themselves from him. Major brands and former business partners have started to quietly cut ties with Diddy. His music empire, which was once worth hundreds of millions, is under serious threat. Sponsors are backing away, and the industry is starting to treat him like a liability. The message is clear. Diddy is becoming untouchable, not in a powerful way, but in a radioactive, career-ending kind of way. And with federal agents reportedly still digging, there's no telling what else could come out next. But if Diddy's own lawyer didn't want to stick around, that raises a huge question. What exactly does Ricco know that we don't? With Anthony Ricco's sudden departure, all eyes are now on Diddy's remaining legal team. Because while he still has 5 other attorneys, the cracks in his defense are starting to show, and in a high-stakes case like this, instability can be devastating. Ricco wasn't just any lawyer. He was a heavyweight in criminal defense, known for handling serious federal cases, including death penalty trials. His presence on Diddy's team signaled that the rapper was preparing for an aggressive legal battle. But now, with Ricco gone, there's a very real question. Is Diddy's defense falling apart? Let's take a closer look at the team he has left. His remaining attorneys include Mark Agnifilo, a high-profile criminal defense lawyer known for representing clients in major federal cases. Tenny Gagos, an experienced trial lawyer with a background in white-collar crime. Alexander Shapiro, a former federal prosecutor who also represented Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced crypto billionaire. Jason Driscoll and Anna Estelle, 2 additional attorneys assisting with Diddy's defense strategy. On paper, this is still an impressive legal team. But here's the issue. High-profile cases aren't just about who you have on your side, but how well they work together. And right now, that's a huge question mark. If Ricco left due to disagreements within the team, that could mean internal conflicts are brewing. Defense teams in federal cases need to be completely united, and if key members don't trust the strategy, it can weaken the entire case. And let's not forget, Ricco didn't just walk away quietly. He filed an official motion to withdraw, specifically citing attorney-client privilege as the reason he couldn't reveal more details. That's not normal. If Ricco had simply decided to move on, he could have given a standard, professional explanation. But instead, he carefully worded his statement to imply that something behind the scenes made it impossible for him to continue. That raises 2 major possibilities. 1. He saw evidence that made him uncomfortable. If the government presented damning new material, Ricco may have decided he didn't want to be part of a losing case, or worse, one where his client was guilty of something even bigger than what's already been revealed. 2. He disagreed with Diddy's legal strategy. If Diddy is considering a plea deal, a change in defense tactics, or even a move that could put other attorneys at risk, Ricco may have chosen to leave rather than go down with the ship. Either way, it signals one thing. Diddy's defense is unstable, and that's bad news for his case. With Anthony Ricco's sudden exit, the countdown to Diddy's trial just became even more intense. A high-profile case like this is already a massive legal battle, but losing a key lawyer at the last minute? That's a disaster waiting to happen. And the worst part? The trial date isn't moving. Despite this shakeup, the judge has made it clear that the case will proceed as scheduled. That means Diddy's legal team now has to scramble to adjust. Whether that means bringing in a new attorney, shifting responsibilities within the team, or completely reworking their defense strategy. But here's the real question. Is Diddy's defense team strong enough to handle this case without Ricco? Or is this the beginning of a total collapse? Losing a lawyer just months before trial can be a nightmare for a defendant. Here's why. Less time to prepare. Every lawyer plays a specific role in the defense. With Ricco gone, someone else has to step in and catch up on everything he was handling. And that takes time that Diddy doesn't have. Shaky defense strategy. If Ricco left due to disagreements about how to handle the case, that means there were already internal conflicts. Now, the remaining lawyers have to rebuild trust and realign their strategy while under massive pressure. Bad optics for the jury. If Diddy's case makes it to trial, the jury will notice that his legal team had a major shakeup. That alone could damage his credibility, making him look even more guilty before the trial even begins. And let's not forget, the prosecution is watching all of this happen. Federal prosecutors love when defense teams start falling apart. It gives them a massive advantage. The more disorganized Diddy's team looks, the easier it becomes for the government to secure a conviction. With Ricco out, Diddy has a few options. Hire another high-profile lawyer. The problem? Top-tier attorneys don't just drop everything and take on a case this complex at the last minute. Finding a replacement won't be easy. Shift responsibilities within his team. Diddy still has 5 attorneys, but none of them can instantly replace Ricco's expertise in federal cases. Negotiate a plea deal. If Diddy's defense team is struggling and the case is looking bad, this might push him to cut a deal with prosecutors rather than risk losing in court. Right now, things are not looking good for Diddy. Ricco's exit is just the latest sign that this case is getting messier and more unpredictable. And with the trial coming fast, the next few weeks will be critical. Because if Diddy loses another lawyer, it could mean total disaster. With one lawyer down and federal prosecutors closing in, Diddy's legal nightmare is far from over. If anything, Ricco's exit could be a warning sign that things are about to get much worse. Because here's the reality. This case isn't just about one lawsuit. It's part of a much bigger legal storm that's been building for years. And if recent history tells us anything, when cases like this start unraveling, they don't stop at just one person. Ricco might be the first lawyer to leave, but will he be the last? When a case is strong, lawyers fight to stay on, especially in a high-profile trial like this. Winning means big career moves, media attention, and a major payday. But when a case starts to look unwinnable, lawyers start backing out to protect their reputations. If more of Diddy's attorneys suddenly quit or distance themselves, it could mean they know something the public doesn't, and that would be a huge red flag that Diddy's defense is crumbling behind the scenes. One of the biggest fears in cases like this is that the charges could expand. Right now, Diddy is dealing with multiple civil lawsuits and a federal investigation. But what if authorities are building a bigger case? In other celebrity legal battles, like R. Kelly's case, what started as a few accusations quickly turned into massive federal indictments. If investigators uncover more victims, more witnesses, or more evidence of a criminal enterprise, Diddy could be looking at even more serious charges. And the scariest part? Federal prosecutors don't move unless they're sure they can win. If Diddy knows his chances of winning in court are shrinking, a plea deal might be his best option. A deal could reduce his sentence and possibly keep some details out of the public eye. But the trade-off? He'd have to admit to something that could permanently destroy his reputation. Right now, his team hasn't confirmed whether a deal is on the table, but with Ricco gone, it's possible that legal negotiations are already happening behind the scenes. Diddy has spent decades building his empire. From music to business, he's been one of the most powerful figures in the industry. But now, with lawsuits, a federal investigation, and his legal team in turmoil, that empire is on the verge of collapse. So what happens next? Will more lawyers follow Ricco's lead and drop the case? Will federal agents hit Diddy with even more charges? Or will Diddy find a way out of this before it's too late? One thing's for sure. This story isn't over yet. And whatever happens next, it could change everything. Right now, Diddy's entire world is hanging by a thread. His once unshakable empire is under siege. His legal team is unraveling, and federal investigators are watching his every move. And if Anthony Ricco's sudden departure tells us anything, it's that something big is happening behind the scenes. Something that could change the course of this case forever. Because let's be real, lawyers don't just walk away from a case like this unless they see the writing on the wall. So what does Ricco know that we don't? Is there a bombshell piece of evidence that could destroy Diddy's defense? Is this case about to explode into something even bigger? Or is Diddy already working on a secret deal to save himself before it's too late? One thing is clear. This story isn't slowing down. It's only getting started. And with the trial coming fast, we won't have to wait long to see how it all plays out. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of Diddy's downfall? Or does he have one last move left to escape this mess? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to stay updated on this case as it unfolds, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, this is far from over.